How's it going, everybody? I am Steve Straza, the Director of Research at All Star Charts. I'm your host. This is the Hot Corner Insider live strategy session. We do this every Wednesday at 1 o'clock. Nothing we discuss here today constitutes any solicitation to buy or sell securities. It's solely for informational purposes, not to be construed as investment advice. For more on our disclaimer, go to allstarcharts.com/terms. Last week, we talked all about energy, focused on XLE and energy equities, but it's really a bigger story, right? It's about commodities in general. So let's just, for some context, zoom out. Remember, commodities have been the asset class to be in, not stocks. Even during the bull market off the COVID lows, shown on the left-hand side of the screen here, stocks have been underperforming commodities consistently for 3 years. With crude oil and friends resolving higher from these reversal patterns that we talked about last week, why would that ratio change course now? Right? Here's that ratio flipped. Now with commodities in the numerator, right? So now you can see this trend line acting as support. Second touch here. You got this nice base in crude oil. Crude oil is the largest component in the CRB commodity index by far. It's going to keep pushing this ratio higher. So there's a lot of good opportunities in the stock market right now, but let's not forget there's more than just stocks. There's also a ton of opportunities in the commodities market. A lot of them we can express through the stock market, right? For example, if you're bullish metals or you're bullish gold or oil or energy, you can express that bullish thesis through gold stocks, energy stocks, metal stocks, etc. From an intermarket perspective, what does this mean for the bond market? These are Fed fund futures, right? So this table tells us what the market is pricing in terms of the target rate for each Fed meeting. We're currently here, September 20th, the latest Fed meeting. We get news soon that they're going to do nothing today. There's a 99% chance. Yeah, 99%. You see it right here, that we're going to stay where we are. But if you move on down the line here, in June of next year, first cut, not hike. And then we get 3 or 2 additional cuts before the end of 2024. Meanwhile, here's interest rates. There's a disconnect here, right? We're talking about things like crude oil reversing, heading higher, maybe heading back to those highs from a year or two ago. Gasoline, heating oil. In the world of agriculture, seeing new highs every other day from things like OJ, sugar, cocoa, livestock, right? Commodities are moving higher. Inflation expectations are kind of creeping higher. They move with commodity prices, so I think there'll be some catch up there. And interest rates are knocking on the door to fresh highs all along the curve. This is from the 2, 5, 10, 30, right there. From an intermarket perspective, why is this important? We're talking about energy. We're talking about bullish opportunities in commodities and commodity stocks. Those trades are going to be easier or are far more likely to be winning trades in an environment where rates keep moving higher, probably. Right? That's the traditional relationship. If I was talking about tech stocks, I would tell you the opposite, right? Energy, commodity stocks, these are the groups that historically do well in rising rate environments. Let's talk about some. We've talked a lot about uranium. We talk about it, I feel like, every day on the morning show. This is Centrus Energy Corp, LEU, little uranium name. Big base. Really like this base. If we zoomed out, it's a base in the context of a structural uptrend. And if we take out these pivot highs at 51, boy, do I like this candle the way it looks right now today. We had a big down day yesterday. All these commodity stocks, a lot of the leaders gave back yesterday with some big red candles. No follow through today. No follow through. Same thing with crude oil. Nasty candle yesterday. Goldman Sachs is out here this morning making bearish comments. Not to get too excited about prospects for higher crude oil prices from here. Crude was down like 2 or 3% this morning. Now long wick right back. Same with commodity stocks, right? These uranium stocks undoing the weakness from yesterday. If LEU keeps going here, takes out, these very short-term highs from last week, we're already above 51, which is our breakout level. You got to be long this name, target of 89. UEC not as clean, but man, this is an interesting one. A lot of juice here. I think you really do want to wait for this base to complete. If you absolutely have to get involved and you have the risk tolerance to support, jumping an entry, I think you could use the late 2021 highs around 575. Other than that, you really want to wait for like 665. Then you get like a 15-year base completing, and who knows where this thing goes, right? But double digits from here. First target would be about 1050. Blackstone. Financials is a weird space right now, right? Some really nice charts in insurance. Handful of good setups in capital markets. Now these asset managers starting to resolve higher from some pretty constructive bases. Blackstone stands out as one of them. Let's ticker BX. Michael Burgess, House of Representatives member. He was a buyer in the first quarter of this year. If we're above 110, you get about 35% there. Traded to 150. Phillips 66, PSX. We see this kind of setup a lot in these energy names, right? 2018 is when risk assets peaked around the globe during the last cycle, or really 2 cycles ago now. Particularly commodity stocks, value stocks. So here you see Phillips 66 just knocking on the door of these 2018 and pre-COVID highs. Oh, 123, 124. Buy strength all day. Our risk is so clearly defined. Love this type of pattern. Target at 175. And a sizable purchase there. Greg Hayes. Greg Hayes, old CEO in the aerospace and defense industry. I forget which one. Let's check. See. Let's see. He might still be. I know this name. Greg Hayes, CEO of RTX Corporation, which is the old Raytheon. So again, we talk about this all the time, but these executives sit on other boards, and then their executives sit on their boards. So it's a big mishmash. So this is a guy who knows what's up, and he's putting $1 million into Phillips 66. PSX. I like it. Total Energies, TTE. This is one of the bigger oil and gas names around the world. Virginia Fox, House of Representatives member. Big base. Classic reversal action here. If we're above 65, I like it long to 91. Here are some new names. This is ESAB, E-S-A-B. This is an industrial machinery company. I think it's a mid-cap. 20 million in the Form 4. Big one. Really good looking chart here. This base resolved higher a while ago. Chopped around right at the breakout level. The base ran to our first target. Digesting gains. Really orderly uptrend, right? You don't want to see it going a straight line higher. Up, a little bit of sideways. Up some more. Some sideways. I like it. 74. It's really those pivot highs, wherever they are. So if we're above, call it 74. Target of 100 in ESAB. Now, this one's interesting. We had to look into this. This one came up on the morning show. I had been traveling, wasn't following this merger news with WWE and UFC, but this is ultimately the merged company. And if you zoom out on the stock, it has the price history of WWE. So Endeavor owns about 51%. That's, I think, like the UFC holding company. And Vince McMahon owns about 16%. In fact, interestingly enough, Jonathan Kraft, Form 4 filer, he's a director. That's Jonathan Kraft of the Kraft family of the New England Patriots, right? Bob Kraft. A lot of big names involved in this one. So, look, if you're interested, you're a wrestling guy or UFC guy, now you got both in one. I think it makes sense. I'm sure there's a lot of synergies there. And the chart's clean. So you got those prior cycle highs that come in right around 97.50. You're seeing, polarity play its course here, where former resistance is, turning into support very nicely here at these pivot lows. And I think you can buy against them. Trading around just above 100 today, right? So 97.50, if we hold there, maybe give it a little bit more room to the pivot lows here. Target of 140. Nice trade. Good looking chart, right? Trading right at new all-time highs. CDW, business support services, payroll and things. CEO was the Form 4 filer just back in May. Beautiful base. Again, not too many charts look this good. Right on the brink of new all-time highs. You could use 208 or you could use 215, but you really don't get confirmation of the base breakout until we reclaim the pivot highs at 215. So call it 215 to 245. We like CDW. Donnelley Financial Solutions, DFIN, we're above 52, long towards 69. We have a activist in this one, Simcoe Capital Management, with about a 13% stake. Markel Corporation, MKL, we're above 1510, long towards 1786. CEO was the Form 4 filer just in August, last month. These insurance stocks, some of them look really good. I believe Markel is one of them. Let's just double check here. Yeah. So property and casualty. I think the same with Brown and Brown. Why the charts look similar, right? Really strong. So Markel is just making new all-time highs right now. Same with Brown. Brown looks great. This is an insurance broker. 0.62% yield, 20 billion. Not small. Form 4 filer back in June. If we're above 74, long towards 87 in BRO. Uber. Love Uber. Uber's one of my favorite long-term stories right now, at least in the consumer space. Big fan of Uber. Been long since this base completed at about the 38%. We've already hit our first target. I think we could, you could stay long or get long if you're not already long above the 62% retracement, or you can use the pivot highs. Either way, they come in upper 40s here. Call it 47. Ultimate target in this one is back at the all-time highs. And then I think it's just getting started. So $64. CEO is the insider in this one. Amazon too. I just like to stay on top of the biggest, most popular, mega cap names in the market, right? So we talked about Google last week. We've talked about NVIDIA. We're always talking about Apple, Microsoft. I think Amazon is shaping up to make a similar move that Apple and Microsoft already have, that Google's in the middle of doing, right? And Amazon's going to resolve higher from this base and head back towards those old all-time highs. So 147 is that level for Amazon, target of 188. Bonus setup. I found a way to get a cold stock on our list. So when we write the hot list every morning, we include unusual options activity. This is what that looks like. You're all familiar, right? But we don't include the bullish options activity names when we do these calls, typically. We're going to start to. So this week we have Arch. This was on the list with some bullish options flow from last week. This is a thermal coal stock, right? They were hitting the October 20th 155s. Right about at the money right now. I love this about Arch though. So on May 15th, 2020, more than 3 years ago, Arch Coal changed its name to Arch Resources. This was less than 3 weeks after the stock bottomed, following like an 80% drawdown. Then it ripped off those lows right after the name change. Don't let anybody know we're a coal stock. Oh no. Coal is dead. Ran on to make new all-time highs, 500-600% off the COVID lows. We like Arch. We think it starts to look a lot like the leaders in the coal space, which are already at new highs, right? CEIX, AMR. I think that's where Arch is headed. We talked about trading these failed tops on the morning show a few days ago, right? This one's definitely failed. I could draw a little trend line here, right? Like I've shown here, that's breaking. You could use a VWAP, right? You could use this, last peak here. Any way you do it, we're pretty much there. You use the 161.8% extension, right? So 152, I think, is a good level. We're above 152. It's only a matter of time before this consolidation resolves higher. Target of 233. We like coal. We like Arch. Long above 152. That's it, guys. Let me know if you have any questions. Hit us up at info@allstarcharts.com. Other than that, thanks for joining, and we'll be right back here, same time, same place next week. Have a good one.